This day, yeah, you took me out. I laughed so hard when I saw Franken tranny.
Yeah, let's see if they knock me for that.
They probably will. They'll go for it because there'll be some man in a dress, balls hanging out, trying to shut you down.
Listen, I don't have no problem with what people want to do with themselves behind closed doors or in their personal
I
life.
know.
But you're
Exactly.
gonna do that. You're gonna do that to a child, man.
That's the part that gets me. The
You
part
know,
is where a child.
children are going to experiment. We know that. Some children. I'm not condoning anything. Just
Yeah,
tell them the options. Do your
they're
thing when you
figuring
get to
stuff
a
out.
certain age. But don't push something on somebody. You know what I mean?
A damn kid thinks they're a warlock at 10 years old. I'm a witch at 10 years old. I'm an astronaut. You ain't go through NASA training.
Exactly. Exactly.
They
That's
play
the
make
crazy
believe and
part.
they play dress up. And then when you have the world like the world is literally attacking men. Now, it started off in a way that was kind of trying to bring these type of old school guys to justice who were a problem. The Bill
Right.
Cosby's and the and the Epstein's and things like that. It started off right, but then it turned into a whole attack on manhood, period. So if
Yeah.
these kids are being told left and right, especially by, you know, well-meaning, I'm doing my air quotes here, well-meaning liberal parents, that if they're
Break it down.
if they believe that every single man has some sort of a predator in him, and that you be better served to be in the woods with a bear than a man, and stuff like that they're
I'm
saying
telling you,
nowadays. You
it's
heard
all
about that
made up
one?
stuff.
Yeah, it's a continuation. Like historically, it's a continuation of the third. Like it started with the second wave of feminism, second, third, and fourth wave of feminism. Literally, like
Right.
academically, like I know my stuff. College educated,
Oh, I know you know.
sociology.
Break it
Yeah,
down. Teach us, brother. Teach us.
exactly. And my best friend, who probably won't appreciate me using his name for this part of it, but he's a PhD anthropologist,
Right.
and we have debates about this because he's more liberal than I am. But I think certain parts of it irritate him too. But he's in that sphere, and with those sort of peers, he has to.
Right.
He can't. I don't think yet, but he's the type of person that he's the type. This is why we became friends in high school. We were in honors classes in high school together. When we were college roommates. All of that. So I know how he is to his core in some ways, and he's not going to take too much of the dumb stuff going on with the liberal movement. He's going to start going in because he's a rebel at heart himself. But the thing that was rebellious in the beginning was being super liberal. But the next rebellious thing is going to be to to start going at all of these people with these backwards ways of having people move to the world. But
Right.
that was a quick detour. But it's like everything man and everything male and everything masculine, if it's not being done by a liberal female, a third and fourth wave feminist,
Mm-hmm.
is bad. That's sometimes the same things that these toxic masculine guys supposedly were doing.
You're right.
When they do it, it's fine. They're trying to redefine to redefine gender, and like it's like a social experiment that they're doing on people's kids and on people's lives. You can't do a social experiment on people's kids and lives and think that that's cool. Tried and true ways of moving through the world that we've always had. Y'all want to upset and shake that up and write papers about it and get they want to profit off of it in some way because they're writing books
Right.
about this. They'll write a book about it. They'll make a show about this. They'll head up a parade or a march or a protest and hold their kid up as the mutilated mascot of what they're doing.
You're right.
How are you gonna turn your kid into a mutilated mascot for your cause and and your
Mutilated
ego.
mascot.
Exactly. It's like I can't even believe this shit is legal in some places.
No, but look how they duped us in the last 20 years. I mean, it's been set up before
Yeah,
that. But look how they
but way
duped us
before
with
that.
all of these distractions that we have. And the time just seemed to move on so fast because we are so distracted and caught up. And as much as
Yep.
I'm on social media, I still have to knock the bad side of it. You know, when you're
Yeah,
focused
for
on
sure.
something like you're finishing up a test, like a
Yeah.
state exam, and you got to be in there for 3 hours, tops,
Mm-hmm.
you can leave early, and you're so focused on the test. There's lots of
You're trying
answers
not to
there that you
fall.
already know, and you take your time and go over them because all of a sudden you're like, is this really it? I know it, but maybe my mind is playing tricks on me. But the main part is those 3 hours go by so fast because you're so focused on completing that test right. We're so
That's
focused
right.
on social media, the timeline, watching people that we know and some we half know, peeping on people we don't talk to, just caught up in the world of fantasy. And you know how the
Yeah.
sale of Vaseline has gone up ever since we have social media and porn. You know, all of this other stuff going on, and finding other people who hold our values, and we group up with them and we rah-rah with them and we fight
Yeah.
against the other team. And all the so-called revolutionaries are caught up in this mind F-U-C-K. They're not doing anything and they're spinning at the tires. Malcolm X didn't have social media. How did he get so much done? And how did he affect the world so much? Martin Luther
Exactly.
King Jr., Marcus Garvey, all of the other ones that are
They went
like
out there.
faceless. They got so much
Yeah.
done without knowing what an algorithm was, without having a
Yep.
like page, without having a YouTube channel. Those things are put out really and truly. Most people rehearse to say good things and sound good, but
Soundbite.
it's a revolutionary speed bump. We're like the
Yeah.
car who's at the shop on the lift, and when they say punch the gas, the tires are spinning and we're not going anywhere. With
It's
all of
true.
these
It's like
brilliant minds who know the truth and have all the perfect quotes, shit ain't
yeah.
happening. You see what I
It's
mean?
true. But the thing about it is, their quotes and their things. You're absolutely right about what you're saying. The wheels are spinning, no one's getting anywhere, and that's the way they like it. They like it in a bottle. They like it in a bottle on a shelf instead of in the streets, and in people's minds and hearts
Exactly.
in any significant way. They
But I
don't
tell
want it
you,
out there like that. And it's like putting. It's
if
like when they
too
put
many
cruise.
people, right, if too many people start to listen to you now, if you start
Yeah,
getting numbers where there's traction and they start, and you can take
they're
that
coming.
connection away from social media, they're going to shut you down. If you're
They're coming.
compromised, you know, there's a lot of them that sound good that are compromised. Basically, they've been approached by the powers that be. Hey, little Negro,
Exactly, and they
you
took
can
the
go on
deal.
here and you can say bad things about us and win over the little niggers like you. And then once we tell you what to do against the little nigglets, you have to do it.
Then
So
you flip
who
the script
elected
and
Al
then you
Sharpton? Who
invent
elected
something.
Jesse Jackson? Who elected these people? See, so we don't see the younger generations don't look for elections and leaders that show up at rallies. They look for popular people that can vibe with them. So if they can push these people on you, because see, let me tell you something of what I know. That
Yeah.
I know some people from way back before who told me on some of the major platforms that they work for that they can push an individual where you wake
Oh
up
yeah.
one morning and you're already subscribed to this person. So therefore you can
Mm.
get artificial blasts for whatever reasons or political reason where a political party or agenda will pay this platform to blast you out. Now, most people
Oh
will say,
yeah.
I didn't subscribe to this person. Maybe it was a mistake. But when was the last time you checked your subscribers? So when you see people out of nowhere get 200,000, 500,000, over 1 million, right? But years
It's some
ago, they were
people I've
calling
seen
black
like
women
that.
hairy-hatted hoes. Now they got a tie, and they got a news channel. I know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, but I don't want to seem bitter.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. Them people are controlled. There's no
Yeah.
way.
And they go after the ones that they know that they can control like that. It's like they realize this person has a little bit of a following, but as long as they have a following and they're not too bright, and they
Right.
don't have too much, they don't have too much integrity, then we could work with this person because they know how to draw a crowd, but we know how to poison the minds. We know how to
Right.
tell this person what to do. They know what they're gonna do what they need to do to make this money from us, but they have star power enough to whatever. Like it's like I sit up here and marvel at some of this stuff sometimes. I'm like, I look at a freaking a girl, and I guess there's certain demographics in this and that. There's this girl on YouTube that does nothing but talk about. She's a photographer. She only talks about old episodes of America's Next Top Model. That I'm sorry, I almost said that chick that that chick has
Old
2 million
episodes.
subscribers. That chick
Oh
has
my God.
2 million subscribers. I'm like, how did I even find? I'm like, I'm wondering how the fuck I found this. Like,
Exactly. How does it turn up on your
yeah,
algorithm? How does
how
it
did
turn up?
it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I might
Episodes
have
so
like,
old, the participants in a
yeah.
old folks home right now.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then the bots, the fake things or whatever they come out with that log, like you said, like they log on to certain places, and half of the audience probably bots and corporate interests.
Well, see, people don't know that there was a study done, and
Yeah,
they say that up to and around and even more than 50% of who you talk to in these chat rooms now and who you interact with are bots. They're not even
yeah,
real, but they're there to steer you. See, now it's just like you have on WhatsApp, that AI chat thing that you can ask questions and it can help you. You're not hearing a
yeah.
voice, but you're getting the answer back and it's programmed, but it seems so
Oh
real. Even when
yeah,
you thank
exactly.
the thing or, have a wonderful day. Oh, have a wonderful day. I'm waiting for them to say, have a blessed day. Like, how's a robot going to tell me if somebody have a blessed day? But it's getting good now. And just like you have these
Yeah,
companions that you can sign up for, and you can mold the companion any way you want. So you don't go on having to
yeah,
fantasize about a companion when you manipulate yourself. You can you can
yeah.
you can just create it and it bounces back off of what you like, you know?
Which is crazy because they don't even have to. They don't even have to like do the work anymore. They used to have to figure out what you like, and then you use all of their all of their information and their technology and their numbers to figure out, well, what does this motherfucker like? But then they just figured out, just make the motherfucker create it himself. We're gonna make you create it yourself. That's like Build a Bear.
Right. We're gonna make you make the meal and put the poison you want, so we're gonna get you anyway.
Exactly. What you like in your poison?
Right.
What you like? You like pizza with it? You like an old steak or
Right.
whatever?
Your final
It's
meal
like
before
those.
getting shot up by the French Foreign Legion.
Exactly.
Don't pick a meal
The
that's too difficult to clean up, but you can have whatever you want.
exactly. It's insanity. And I think they train like they literally like there's definitely benefits. I'm not so much of a conspiracy guy that I believe that the internet was solely created for that purpose. But I do believe that once they realize that it could be used for that purpose, they jump right on it
Right,
because
right.
they realize, damn, this thing that we thought would only be interesting to nerds and connect people for certain very specific things. Because you got to realize, even in the 70s, even in the 70s, computerized ordering things from a store existed, but it was
Yeah.
it was very new and novel, and only a few people did. Maybe the elderly only, or the people who had disabilities and things like that. Rich people, you had to be rich though. You had to be rich. If you were rich and you had some sort of a disability or ailment or this or that, they had all types of technology for your ass that we probably haven't even seen yet.
Exactly.
but
Exactly.
they had, but
You know,
but they have it. Yep.
is your
And
back
so
broken? Well, we have something that can wipe your ass for you. Yeah. Just
nanobots,
sit down and let it happen.
they exactly. They inject them with nanobots that straighten the back right up, and they up walking around putting feet
Just
putting
bring your
feet in
body in, you
black
get a
people
tune up.
and their children's ass all day.
We have
You
a
got
special on enemies today. Exactly.
exactly. You thought it was over when they turned 90. The master gonna live forever.
We have the technology.
We
We
have the
can make them
technology. We
stronger,
can
faster.
build him. We
They were
could
telling you
build
back there
him.
with the $6 million man.
Exactly. They're gonna lift up Trump wig, and there's gonna be a whole electrical circuit up there.
Circuits. Exactly. Like Trump been dead. He got the
Trump been
voice and
there.
everything.
They did him in 1992. Y'all didn't know it. There's been a robot for several decades. A whole robot. You think a
Oh
human
man,
look like
yeah, you
this?
don't know what's real these days,
It's true. It's certainly
but
not.
they're
Certainly
planting the
not gender.
seeds.
Certainly not gender.
But they,
That's not real.
but see, they're planting the seeds.
Don't
Look,
tell it.
look, look, look what it is now in 2024. I think people forget that it's
Yeah.
2024, right? And they're going to be listening to this video if they don't take those down again years from now. But yesterday was 911, man. It was like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like what
It was.
happened? How are they? Let me tell you something. They messing with the very passage of time, not the clock
Yeah.
time, but the actual time. To me,
Mm.
I've been very intense in these last 20-something years. All my life I've been, but like, where did it go?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at myself like, I'm 61. I don't feel like 61. This is some. I'm fooled here. This is not a midlife crisis. You know what I mean? Like, but what the hell?
I know what you mean.
You mean 9 more years, maybe 70? I don't feel
True.
like it.
But
Don't
you're
trick
not,
me.
though. Think about it. The thing about it is that you're not. Like 70, 50, 60, 70 years ago, 70 was 70 back then.
I'm
70
telling
was
you.
really 70 because you had to take the water out the well. You had to you had to build a house. You know what I mean? You had to do all of
Right,
this extra shit that broke your body down. So
right,
all of the modern conveniences and all of the medicines, not all of them, some of them are just meant to keep you addicted to stuff. But
right,
but some of the modern medicines, because they got to make some of them look good. Some of them actually have to be good to get you to fall for
right.
the other
Lure
crap.
you in.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So all of the modern surgical techniques, and we will
Like
still
that
have.
fine chick at the club that got AIDS and she's weaponized working for the government. Go into the black clubs and have
Go
sex
in
with as
there
many men as you
and
can
do
so we
your
can.
thing.
They got that too. Trust me.
Exactly. Yep. And then next thing you know, you got somebody. You saw that chick. That just reminded me of the chick who tried to run over the dude on the bicycle. Like, number one, she found out that he gave her AIDS, and then she tried to run him over. I'm like, he ride a bicycle though. Why would you even? you you have a car and you're trying to run over the dude on a bicycle that gave you a horrible disease. Why were you fucking him?
Right,
Why were you
right,
messing with him
right.
in the first place? You had to run him over. Like you couldn't even go to his job and mess him up because he didn't have one.
Damn. Be
You had
more
to try
mad
to
at her
find
poor
him.
choices
You
than
had to
anything
find him
else.
on Crackhead Row. You had to find him on Crackhead Row riding his bicycle like normal and try to hit him with your car.
Well. If she got AIDS from him, she went down there looking for him so he can hit her. He must have hit it good because he
Exactly.
delivered the disease.
Exactly. Splash. Touchdown. The eagle has landed.
Mm.
Yeah.
The
It's
spread eagle
crazy.
has landed.
That's nice. Exactly. The spread eagle has landed. And they do so
And
many weird like chemicals and like they don't even like they went from things like free love and marijuana to now Tusi, huh?
uh-huh.
Tusi, which is a mixture of several strong narcotics and food coloring and
Damn.
and
Make it like
and
candy.
yeah, they make it pink
Just like
like candy. Exactly.
candy.
Just like candy, you won't wake up, girl. Spread eagle and ruin your world. Yeah.
I took a puff as a girl and woke up just like a guy.
Just like candy. Ow, Buck Daddy, you got to
And
let
after
me
an hour, I was strange, and I liked it, and I like it.
go.
Doom, 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 doom. You know I'm
Ow,
bugging.
won't you stop bringing that to say?
I'm telling our friend to
Oh,
come on in and join the fray because we off the chain right now. Come on in, sister.
yeah. How you doing?
We got.
I'll
Don't be
send it
quiet
there.
now. Come on in.
Right?
Did she say anything? She typed
No, she
in
didn't
the
say
chat
anything
when
yet.
she was coming on in. Oh, okay. Must
She
be on
probably
mute.
still making her way.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome, man. It rained cat and dogs yesterday, man. I
Did
thought
it?
I was on Noah's Ark up in here. I thought my house was the Ark and whatnot.
Oh,
Real.
true.
I said, well, we
How bad
doomed
is the
because I'm the
rain
only one
over
up in
there?
here.
Like, how does the weather hit over there? Like,
Oh,
you know,
well,
like, you
see,
know what I mean? Like,
this is the rainy season, and then the rainy
okay,
season it's and then I'm in the mountains now, so that's even worse,
that
right?
part. That's what I was
Like
wondering. Yeah.
yeah, once December comes, you ain't getting no rain, and
Okay.
up until maybe April or sometimes March, that'll be early, but basically you ain't getting no let me close these windows right. How the hell what
Okay.
the hell did I do? Hold on 1 second.
No
It's
worries.
one of these three-way windows. You know, one on
No, it just kind of reminds me of what when I was living in New Mexico and Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the
mm-hmm,
rainstorms. I was living at Albuquerque, New Mexico. A lot of people may not know that it's a higher elevation. It's, I think it's 12 to 1,700 feet, might
wow.
be 15, but I forget the exact, you know, elevation of it all. But when when I've had my first storm
Mm-hmm,
in Albuquerque, that was something else. That was something else.
mm-hmm.
So I can imagine you at a high elevation in the mountains, dealing
Yeah,
with storms and
this is one of
rain.
the highest
Yeah,
in this part of Ghana.
yeah.
It's actually the eastern region. And
Okay.
from what I see on the water table, it's one of the highest. Now, as far as feet is concerned, I have to look into that because they do everything with different measurements over here. But
Yeah,
I was surprised to see that. And it's like being up in a daggone plane. I'm not saying it's that high. It's just
yeah.
that we're so high up, we are in the clouds. Now you got some clouds a little higher
Oh,
than
nice.
us, but when
Yeah.
a bad rainstorm comes, you're not looking up. You're looking left or right because it's like the blob rolling at you. Like, oh my God. And all of a sudden
Wow.
it comes out of nowhere. Because see, it's not like we're down low. We're up high.
Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden stuff starts blowing fast or whatever. And
Yeah.
that's why they have to have these houses concrete like this, because if not, you be in trouble. And
Mm.
even then, it's like it's kind of scary the way the winds are. Whoo! I mean, really intense.
Yeah.
And the rain comes sideways. But one thing I found funny, the storms only come from one side. The way the everything goes, it just comes from one side. It hits one side of the house, and you can leave the other windows open, and not a drop of rain comes in. It's so funny. But
Yeah.
it rained from like about 3 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday till about um, maybe 4 in the morning. But it was no
Wow.
joke. And
Like a
and up here it's straight country. So it's not like, well, let me just go down to the corner store and you know what I mean? You
yeah.
better be in and have what you got, because then if you have a power outage, it's already dark. Like, I mean, it's not like you can't see anything. Your house is lit up, you have electricity and everything. But when there is a power outage, if you don't have solar, which we don't have yet, man, you want to see some darkness. And I don't know if you know that song "Hoist the Colors" with the guys with the deep
Oh yeah.
bass voice.
Yeah. I think about that every
Man,
time. Yeah. I think
yeah,
about
go
that
ahead.
every time. Every time that I see something, I have like megalophilia or megalophobia, I should say, not philia.
Hmm.
Megalophobia is like this
What
this
is that?
fear of it's fear of like this tall, like if you see a huge gigantic, like seeing mountains in the distance and
Yo,
like
I got
seeing,
that too. Yo,
yeah,
I have
or you see
dreams
or you see a large
of
structure, or whenever
driving.
you see a large structure, yeah, when
Yeah,
you see those
like
big
I had
large
dreams.
structures, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm always moving toward it. Like, say for example,
Yep.
I dream that I'm on this open road. Say like from Florida to New York, it's this open flat land, and the building
Yep.
is states away, but it still looks big over you, and you're moving toward it.
But you can still see it.
Yo,
Exactly. Yep.
and I could tell you another one that you have that you don't even have to say. If you got that one, you got this one. I freak out when I'm somewhere where planes are landing low over my head. That freaks me out.
Oh,
I get scared of that.
that
If
one
you were
that
to
one
put
gives me
me,
a little bit, but I think I lived like I put it this way. I used to go. I used to go kick it at someone's house who had planes, like they lived near the airport. So I got used to that
Right.
sort of thing. So yeah, so that got me over that. But I used to have that sort of thing, and then I started
Wow.
taking pictures of the planes and stuff like that. Then I got over it. But but, but that took years. And
I
the
was
thing
I
about
was in
it,
West
though,
Virginia.
that megalophobia, right?
I was in West
That
Virginia one night
megalophobia.
driving through the mountains, and it was
Yeah.
cloudy, and I'm looking off in the distance. I said, "What is that?" And I realized
Yep.
we were like wedged between mountains, and we were going into the mountains through
Oh.
tunnels. And as I was going
Yep.
through I was like, "Oh!" I had to look down, man. I was all messed up.
Yep.
I did all kind
When
of
I
I did
drove
all
to New
kind of male
Mexico,
kegels that night.
crushing diamonds. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, like the funny part about that is that when I went to New Mexico, like I was talking about before, when I went to New Mexico and I was driving there, I was stopping off at one of my friend's house. It was Tamika. I was stopping at her house overnight before I go to my next spot. So I stopped somewhere to make a phone call, and I'm telling her I'm looking at this thing that looks like a billboard where I'm at, because it was
Mm-hmm.
right before I entered Las Cruces. So Las Cruces is before Albuquerque. So I'm leaving Texas
Mm-hmm.
and I'm about to go to Las Cruces. So I said, "What's this? It looks like a billboard over here." I'm telling her which direction I'm looking at and this and that. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, just come here, blah, blah, blah." She knows that I'm scared of the mountain stuff. And I hadn't driven in
Right.
daytime yet to see mountains yet. So when I get to
Oh,
her house, she says, "You were looking directly at a mountain." It was in Texas where it has the star that's on the side of a mountain, but they
yeah.
put the lights on it.
Right.
They put a Texas star on the side of a mountain, literally.
Oh my
And I was
God.
looking at the mountain, but I thought that the star was a billboard. And so
Little
she
did you
said, "Yeah,
know, you would have freaked out if you
no."
realized it.
She said, "Don't worry about that," because she was trying to get me off of that, because she knew that I would have been scared as hell if I knew what that was.
Oh man,
Yep.
that's nuts. Yeah, those things get me. I don't know where that came
Oh
from, but I know over here in Queens, growing up on Rockaway Boulevard, the runway,
yeah.
they went right under the runway, and planes were like ready to touch down, and I would drive. And I'm looking to my left, like, oh God, here comes a plane. So I nail it and go faster so I can either beat it or go slow and let it go in front of me. And everybody knew. It was a big joke with all my friends, like, there's a plane. I'm like, if you
Oh,
want to get the
Lord, they don't
truth
mess
out of
with
me,
you.
tie me up to a chair on the runway right before the wheels touch
Oh.
down and let the man, my every orifice would eject the appropriate fluids out of it, and I'll just pass out. Forget it.
That and they're gonna get the launch code sequence. Here you go.
Oh God.
The launch code sequence is all of these numbers. Like, yeah.
Oh God. And in Orlando doing the 11. I didn't know. The first time I did the 11, I didn't know it's the same situation.
Oh
And
Lord,
I
you
was
talking about
coming out of
OBG?
the airport. Yeah, I was coming to the airport, Orlando
Yeah.
International Airport. I was coming out of it, and it was a plane that got me, meaning that it went right over the bus. And it's like somebody
Wow.
took the bus and shook it up and down as I was driving. The
Oh,
wind, it was so bad. And then it made all these little twirlies, like little tornadoes, like little
yeah,
tiny
yeah.
ones. You could see them, like 5 of them next to me in front of me. And the bus was shaking like it was lifting up off the ground for a foot. Man, I
Oh
tell you,
wow.
every part of my body clenched up, man. I couldn't go to the bathroom for 3 days. I got off of that route as soon as I could, man. And then don't let it be like foggy and you see the
Yeah,
clouds. Man, shoot. No
yeah.
way.
Then you see the clouds part into some gigantic thing in the background after that. Yeah.
Mm,
Yep.
mm, I don't want to see
Like
that.
exactly. Like ooh. Driving through
You
all
know,
of that from New Mexico, I thought driving through the desert was bad enough. Like what seemed to me like the desert, I should say, going through Texas. certain parts of Texas. That's a big state to drive through.
Mm.
And it took me a good day of driving to get out of Texas because I had
That's a
some car
mental thing
issues
because
too.
it's so long.
Yeah, it's a mental thing. Like, but it was some car issues too. I had to do some tires and
Oh
all that stuff.
no, not out there.
Yep, I did.
Oh
It was
man,
crazy.
shoot.
It was
You're
it
gonna
wasn't
lock up
tires. It
in.
was brakes. It was brakes. I take that back. But it was
So if you
bad.
see something, you're gonna end up hitting it. Oh God.
Exactly.
Hello.
I heard up about that road. I was in
Yes,
this
I hear
whole
you,
part of
sister.
like
Come on
Texas.
in.
Hi,
Yeah.
how are you guys doing?
Doing
We
well. How
good.
are
We
you?
good.
I'm well. I'm hanging in there.
Oh,
I had
good,
to
good.
download the app apparently to get in, and so
Oh,
yeah, I had to go out
okay.
and come back in.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you just needed the link. I learned something now. So yeah,
Yeah,
no
and
problem.
plus I have an old phone and it just needs to be updated, and so I probably got to go
Oh,
through
okay.
loops.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like they do that to the phones though. It's like once it gets past a certain age, it's like they got a F it up button. Like let's F it up so you
yeah.
be forced. Everything moves slow. You can't
I,
download anything.
until I can't press a button anymore, I'm not getting a new phone. I'm good.
Yeah, all the
But
technology is jacked
I
up.
was speaking in the, because you could type without having to, have the actual app, but to go
Right,
on to, you have to download it. But I was
right,
typing because when you guys were speaking about the basically the energy force that they're pulling from us through AI,
right.
it made me think about the movie Get Out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't
And
seen it. I'm gonna. Yeah.
oh,
Share still up.
brother, you gotta
I
see it
know I was
because
supposed to see that one.
it's speaking the truth right to our face. Like they are literally not hiding what they're doing. And yeah, they live longer because they're pulling DNA from us, implanting it in them, and they're able to be that strong person and that longevity life person that we
Right.
tend to have and have always had. And so now they're
Mm-hmm.
still in that and they're living longer and they're possessing us to a point so that, they can steal this from us. And it was a
That's
glitch
so.
in the program that if you took a picture, it would make a person snap out of their trance for a second. And that was how they was able to figure out what was actually happening. But they telling us to our face what they are doing to us. It's like that saying, take it to the grave. Like
Yeah.
that's what they plan on doing. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna take this big ass lie that they implanted to the grave by any means necessary. We are not giving up. We are not gonna say we did anything. Nope, not doing it. We're gonna take
Wow.
it to the grave. Look at all of our history that they have hidden under the Vatican. That how do you do that? How do you just? I
I
mean,
know.
It's like
I'm
you
gonna go
said.
to my neighbor because my car is about to go out. I'm about to take my neighbor's car and just park it somewhere else. But I'm gonna be driving in
Okay.
the car. It's
But
like
you
what?
raise an interesting and very good point. It's like they can just take their what they do is they know that they set their generations up to be economically prosperous for generations and generations to come. So they take their lies and their deceits and then they take that to the grave. Meanwhile, generations go by, the people that knew what happened pass on in our community. They know how they got their money, but there's no one around to talk about the caper that they pulled on us.
Which is what they
Mm-hmm.
So
did to us because they
yep,
killed off our ancestors that was able to tell us you came
yep.
from a king, you came from a queendom family. You are not a slave. You were not born a slave. You are born royalty. So they took those elders and they did off with them and then for the children that were children at that time that knew that information, they split them up. So now we have nobody to communicate with who we are and whose we are. And so now we've been programmed to believe that we are a slave. Like, are you serious? Like the demonic problems that we have, it's been planted. When they say Satan does what Satan does, he's diligent in what he does. He's very diligent.
They knew this too. I mean, they know they before they even came to start doing all of this chattel slavery that they did to us, and all of this with the slave trade. They knew based on how they already operated like this with each other for a while. They already had this evil and this nasty demonic way of interacting in the world. Whenever they went somewhere and conquered it, they just kicked it up a notch because we were more strikingly different because of our skin, our beautiful skin, and our beautiful features. We were more strikingly different from them.
We have to hold ourselves accountable for the things that we put on this earth as well, especially as, you know, Moors that enslaved, you know, in history, we actually had white people as slaves. And it's almost like we don't tell that part, because if we tell that part, it shows how we were able to conquer them and how we can do it again. So they don't want that part getting out. They keep that out of history, and we don't even know the powers that we have, the things that come from us that they use today to scare us with our own things.
Yeah, but we catch glimpses of our own power through our influence on culture.
Yes,
and through our
but we don't even look at that and say, you know what, I'm a trendsetter. I started this, or you know, the whole genre of how control, that's directly from us. That's directly from us. Biggest spenders in that industry, in the beauty industry, the biggest spenders, and we can't even go to the Koreans and open up a beauty salon store and say, hey, I want to order directly from you. They not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. And we just won't stand up to say, you know what? Then guess what? I won't be buying from you. I'm gonna tell everybody in the world not to buy from you. Like this whole ban that they got on Ibn. It's crazy. It's crazy because the story of the couple young ladies that experienced what they experienced, it's like, how is this even allowed? You yelling in my face, you talking in your language, in your dialect, knowing that I don't know it, so I don't know what's going on. You leaving me in roach motels, you leaving me at a meeting and telling me to get my own Uber. And it's like, my thing is, where are our attorneys that can help fight cases like that? Because that's the misconception when it comes to Malcolm X. They think that he was militant. They painted him as a militant black man. That was not his deal. He was killing them in the courtroom. That's how he was killing people. He was killing them in the courtroom.
That's the only place they really care about it. Because anything that happens outside of a courtroom can be lost to the times of history. Anything that happens outside of a courtroom, as far as progress for us, so they'll give us all of this little social stuff a little bit, and just starting to stop messing with our more civil rights just recently. Even if it's 60 years, that's still just recently.
Yes,
all of that's just recently.
That's just the other day.
That's just the other day. Yep.
That's yesterday. Well, all this technology makes us think that so much time has gone by, but not in the minds of these people. That's not even two people. That 60 years. It would take, like, let's say, if we did it by human lifespans. So only 60 years has gone by. That's a 60-year-old. A 60-year-old's life. And you think that people are going to change their wicked, nasty ways towards us?
Yeah. It is like you said, Lance. That's you. That's like, okay. That's
a funny footnote. My family always told me that when we would go down to 125th Street, I actually heard Malcolm X's voice as a little baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Nice.
Yeah. When he
I
went
Like
back
remember
to
you
that's
telling me
little
that's
about
a
this.
piece
And
of
that story,
history that no
I
one
still
could
think about that
ever
image,
take
man,
from
when you
you.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't know who I was listening to. You know, I
but
was in
that's
a
a
little
piece of
stroller.
history that no one can take from you. And so someone like
Exactly.
you is who they'll try to shut down because you'll be able to give our generation and younger, that feeling of empowerment.
Connectedness. Yeah, and
Yeah,
connectedness.
they don't want us to connect. They know that if we connect, it's like if you plug that plug in a socket, you finna get some electricity. They not gonna let that happen. They
That's true.
not. They will. They got a plan for annihilation. That's coming. It's coming. It's coming. They coming for us
Wow.
in a Gaza type way.
Wow.
They don't want
And
us to
they
flourish at
study our
all.
reactions also. They study our behavior. They study what we talk about on social media. Don't think social media was just social media given to us. They're
No.
watching and they're
Yes, they
studying and they're
are.
predicting. And they know us very well more than what we know. You know,
Yes, they
I
do.
mean, hmm even the
They know us
casual white
very
person.
well. When you go
Yeah,
when you go to another continent and you have all this history that you're learning, you don't see us there. You see them there. You
right.
see them over in Africa studying.
You're right.
You don't see
You're
us.
right.
I
We
know
went
from
way up in the
growing up here.
mountains
Man, I know
and
from
coming
growing
down
up
at the
here,
mountains were white girls looking at me like I didn't belong there.
right? And it's like, are you serious? This my land. You don't belong here. Don't let me bite you.
Right.
Don't don't let me get in that ass. You better keep going. You better keep going. But they had us here. I remember working at it's a mental facility, and some Jamaicans had come over on a pass to work there because they was going to school, and they see us doing what we doing, and they were standoffish, and we were standoffish as well. But once we started sitting down at lunch and talking, they telling us, "Oh, they tell us not to mess with y'all over here because y'all gonna rock us." And I'm like, "What?"
Let me ask. Do you hear that funny noise in the background? It's like like Darth Vader or something. It's like a noise.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, Joe, you hear that? It's it just stopped. But go ahead. Go
I think
ahead.
I am that, which is why I put it on mute while I walked over here.
Uh,
Like I
No,
walked to the
for a
store,
second, I thought
so
this was
that's
something in the room here with me. I'm like, wait,
yeah, like Darth
that
Vader.
that bat.
Like what's that crappy Darth Vader
that
sound that I
bat.
wish would go away?
You know, Joe, there was a bat that landed on my face.
Oh yeah. Oh
The
Lord. I
bat got
remember
in
you
the
the
house.
story on that one.
Yeah, it was going
I
around. I
heard
tried
that
to let it
story.
out. It wouldn't go out. I laid down and it got in the room, and I must have I had some mangoes. I forgot to brush my teeth, and the fruit smell was around my mouth. I'm laying down, and I had my phone on, and the phone was on his back. I fell out, and the YouTube kept playing, so the light was shining from the phone up toward the ceiling, and something touched me on my face. I opened my eyes, looking eye to eye with a bat. Let me tell you
Y'all would
something.
have been wearing black dresses and suits because I'd have been done.
I screamed. Oh man,
You
out
know
of a
what I
I
deep
can.
thought,
sleep.
like me, I'm thinking that damn white government they learn how to turn the bats now.
I'm they said a bat drone over here to mess with me.
Exactly.
I would tell y'all, you say that, and it's funny. I'm laughing because I literally felt like
I wouldn't put anything past it.
they had, the flies that you can't kill. I call them shit flies.
Yes.
Yeah,
I had two in my house. Now I learned a
they're
remedy
aggressive.
on how to get them. If you lead them to the window, they get stuck. It's easy to kill them once you lead them to a window.
Right.
When I say I'm in the middle of the night and I hear this buzzing in my ear, and
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute,
Demonic.
Right. And it was like it was coming for my face. It wasn't touching nothing but my face. It wasn't on my arms, my legs. It just kept coming at my face. I cut the light on. Do you know I couldn't find that
Oh,
nowhere in the house? But as soon as I cut the light off, it was back. I'm
Ain't that
like,
something?
nah,
That's
bro, this
something.
is programmed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They got things out in Africa here that are programmed. Little. There was a video. One guy got it and took it apart or something like that. Big
I
locust looking thing.
Man, I've seen some in the park. I've seen some. I'm petrified of bugs. It's one of the reasons that I'm like, you know what? Somebody gonna have to. I'll buy everything that's necessary, but somebody gonna have to tend the garden because if I see something move and it's not human or mechanical, I'm out. I'm out. It's a definition. And I'm just sitting up here like, but I saw what they said was a cicada. When I say this
Oh
thing
my
looked like it
God,
was an
that thing is
ugly
big.
old ass man, it looked like a human old man. And
Wow.
it would not, it was like it was staring at me and I'm staring at it and it would not move. I'm
Oh
fanning, I'm
wow.
cleaning it and it would not move. I used to drive a bus and somebody told me it could have been a locust because I never knew grasshoppers to have red eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But I seen this thing jump from the middle of my bus in my peripheral,
Mm-mm.
and it, it's called the MTD. Will let you know what your
Mm-hmm.
next, load driver
Right.
or pickup is, pickup and drop off, and it
Mm.
landed on my MDT. I'm
No.
driving right. Luckily, I didn't have no passengers on my bus at the time. I was going to my first pickup. You know, when I say I whipped that
Oh
bus on
no.
3 wheels, I turned into the beginning of a forest preserve, and I'm taking my clipboard and I'm fanning it, trying to get
Right.
it away from me because I can't get my seatbelt. And it
Oh
spread
man.
its legs like a suction onto that MDT. Like, bitch, I wish
And
you
held
would.
on to it. Wow.
Let me tell you,
wow.
I had my mic in my hand. I got it stretched out the door because I opened up the passenger door. I jumped out my driver door. I'm calling in to base like it's a grasshopper on my bus. I
Oh,
can't drive like this. Y'all don't
oh
understand. And
man.
they laughing, but
Oh,
I'm
they
dead
laughing.
ass serious. And the fear in my
That was
face
a whole
made
locust, by the way.
man, and they had these red eyes, and I'm like, oh no, no, no.
Mm-mm.
I the lady that was coming into the forest preserve with her dog, she turned in. She must have seen the look on my face because she stopped. She said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" I go, "No, I'm not okay." And like what?
Mm.
And she's like, "Where is it?" It had jumped on the rearview mirror, the pole that goes to the glass. It had nestled right
Yeah.
in there. When I tell, and it was a white lady. She got on the
It's
bus.
waiting for you.
She cupped it in her hand and let it go in the
In a
grass. I said,
hand.
yes. She cupped it in
you
her
you know
hand.
how that go.
I know.
I was like, you know what?
Oh God.
I don't really get emotional like that, but I had to hug that lady. I had
She was your hero.
she was at that moment. I was like, and her dog just sitting in the passenger seat like a human. Like,
Oh
good job,
wow.
mom. And I'm sitting up here like I was shaking. I was
Another day
shaking.
at the office.
And then when I get back to the base, my supervisor, she started hopping to the window. I was like, that's not funny. I was like, I said,
Oh wow.
y'all don't understand how unsafe that was because I'm panicked. I could have hit somebody. Like that was dead ass serious for me. She was like, no,
Yeah, that's just
you
as
Any
are
time
serious
if
as
the
a
thing
absolutely
human
jumped
right.
on
being.
you,
Man, man, oh my God, we would have been up in the forest preserve. We would have been up the tree with that bus.
you would have
I was
knocked every
like,
tree in the forest preserve down.
man, but it was so unreal as to how mechanical and how it responded to me trying to, bat at it. Like, I'm here to stay.
It wasn't his first rodeo. He just was like,
It,
okay, I
she
know
don't
what to
know
do.
who
Play
I
with you today.
am. She don't know I would jump on her. It's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
It was
That's
thinking
crazy,
about
but
that
I don't
Aretha
believe it.
Franklin song, "Jump, Jump, Jump to it."
Yeah.
Do, 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 do,
And that's exactly
do,
what
do,
I
do,
did.
do,
I
do, do,
jumped right
do,
out
do.
the damn vehicle too. And I had to call it in because we had monitors. You know, if you stop abruptly or you make a turn, it triggers the camera.
Right.
And so it's going to record 15 minutes
You had
before
to
and
have a
15
reason.
minutes after. So I
Yeah.
called it in because that report would have came out like she just turned on three wheels. I literally turned that bus on three wheels. We was for real. Moyo and
Mm-mm.
Jody. Like,
It,
mwah.
it thought you were so happy to see it that you're going to go on a joyride.
Man,
Exactly.
me, I'd rather deal with a nigga first. I know how they operate. I know how your hands and arms
Yeah.
move. I know I can look in your eyes what you get ready to do. I can't tell you
Oh,
grasshopper.
before I forget, there's a bit of news that came out within the last day, maybe 12 hours or so, and it's about the state of Louisiana. In Louisiana, with the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization basically declared that they are not going to listen to or any ordinance, any orders, or any whatever they tell you to do. We don't have to listen. We don't have to deal with it. But see, they didn't put that news out there. I got a tweet that confirmed that from someone. And Joe Biden hurried up behind all of it and said, no, 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 no. Any state that wants to act this way, you have to listen to the World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization. Because you know, if
Wow.
Louisiana did it and was successful, how many other states would have went through? Because you know, with this being an election year, in a couple of months, there's going to be some other kind of pandemic or something to try to make you panic. And Louisiana's like, I'm not dealing with it. So I don't know if what Biden did knocked Louisiana back into the corner of subservience, but that's the thing is that you have elected officials who are voting against these entities. Now that they find out that whole thing was a sham. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is something that is actually going on because I did not click on it. It was in, you know how like when you're looking at the news and they got all these different, stories that's going on.
Right.
So the information is definitely out there. And it's kind of like what happened with Texas. But look at what they did to Texas. When Texas decided that they were not gonna go on their grid, they was gonna make their own. And then when they had that power outage, look how long it took
Mm.
them to even help those people. And it was like, okay, since you wanted to do your own thing, now we're gonna punish you. You gotta wait until we get there. Because that
Deal
was
with
in the
it.
dead
Yeah.
of winter for them. That was in the dead of winter for them when that
Wow.
happened.
Yeah, you're right. They like what they say. They don't let a good crisis go to waste ever.
Yeah, no, they don't. How
They'll
could
use it
Wow.
as a
just
way to show, like you said, they'll use it as a way to, show people, make an example out of them, or whatever they have to
yeah,
do.
like how could you have that much power? How could one race have that much power
Hmm.
over a world? Really?
I know. I know. And if they really want to force something, you know, I think I
Yeah.
have it here. Hold on a second. Let me see. You open this link. It says here the state of Louisiana just voted to ban the WEF and the WHO agenda, saying that they shall have no jurisdiction or power within the state. The bill now passed both the Senate and the House. This is massive news, yet nobody in the mainstream media is reporting on it. And they say, that's why I'm here to bring you the news that is being censored by the mainstream media. Boom. Earlier, the Senate in Louisiana voted 37-0 to pass a bill that will ban the WEF, WHO, and the UN from having any jurisdiction or power within the state.
Mm.
Now, the House also voted 69-22 in favor of the bill. This is massive news. Is
Yeah,
what it says in the bill. It said the World Health Organization, United Nations, and the World Economic Forum shall have no jurisdiction or power within the state of Louisiana. No rule, regulation, fee, tax, policy, or mandate of any kind of the World Health Organization, United Nations, or the World Economic Forum shall be enforced or implemented by the state of Louisiana or any agency, department, board, commission, political subdivision, governmental entity of the state, parish, municipality, or any other political entity. Looks like they are rejecting not only the WEF agenda, but also the WHO and the UN agenda. This comes as 22 state attorney generals have called to reject the WHO pandemic treaty, and several Australian politicians have done so as well. Wow, we are seeing more and more people saying no. Wow.
As they should. As they should. That's just
And
like
Biden
the
struck it
bill,
down.
the House Bill 1894.
Yeah. He can't, but he's basically saying, well, with the feds, we can override any of that little crap. But the states have the right to be sovereign that way.
Right,
and I'm telling
they
you,
do.
this is going to break up the country where each state may end up being their own little country or clumps of you know.
They've already done that with the abortion laws. That they're slowly getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so much division going on in different parts of the country that these are the times that they know that they have a groundswelling of individuals in their own states to push for things like this.
Mm-hmm.
So once they start thinking of their self-interest, which
we
in a lot of cases they should,
we can do it when that's what a sovereign people is about, because when the government is out of control, like, you have the right to stand up and overthrow that government. That's a constitutional law.
But honestly, you know how they only evoke that feeling and that mandate when it looks like there's some sort of a president that isn't, like before it was Lincoln, they wanted to secede because of that. They wanted to talk about individual states' rights because it was all about slavery. And then now, once they feel like their rights are infringed upon even a little bit, they're ready to break it all down. But
like
we get our rights infringed
what
on.
Trump did. Like, he incited that for real. Like, they were, as bad as it was, they were correct to do so, because they had that right. They had that right, even though it wasn't. It was just for their benefit, and
exactly.
When we try to do something like that, we're looked at as militant.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. It's like,
mm-hmm.
But I mean,
we're a problem. They're patient when they do it. We're a problem when we do it.
Yeah, they have a House bill. It's a House Bill 1894 that they actually voted on, and I don't remember what state it was in, but it was a bill that what the person was putting in front of the House was, is there a way to label the fruits and the vegetables that have vaccines in them? And the House person that was, trying to figure out, okay, what is this about? He was like, explain to me what you're saying. He said, are we going to be having, fruits and vegetables that's going to be sitting at the pharmacy in a refrigerator, or is it going to be amongst the regular fruits and vegetables? And the person was like, yes, we want to be able to see how it's labeled, because it could cause problems. And he said, how so? He was like, take for instance, if you have a daughter and she contracts something, and you get this particular vegetable or fruit or whatever, and it doesn't have a regulation on how much is in there or how much your daughter has to take, and she dies from it. Like, we need some kind of label that tells us that. And I'm listening, I'm like, he's speaking like this is in existence, and it is. It's in existence already. And he said, so you mean to tell me it's fruits and vegetables that's got vaccines in them? He's like, name me one. And he started telling him the apples and the tomatoes, and I'm sitting up here, this ain't nothing we know about.
Wow.
Like, how do we know that we're getting an apple or a tomato that has a vaccine in it? How do we know that? to the point that they had to pass a House bill. So obviously somebody or people are being affected by it, that they had to put it into motion and say, hey, we need control.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
It's insanity, and it's the type of things, like you said, like it's stuff that you don't even know you have to think about until they bring it to motion. But by then, people have already been affected by it.
Yep. That's when you know it's a problem on their end, that they're being affected by it. You take the
Yeah.
what is it? The what do they call it? The drugs, and how it's affecting their people. But it's
Yeah.
always been. And when they gave it to us and we were having problems from it and dying from
And
it,
they
it was
knew they were
nothing.
good. Yeah.
They knew it.
With them, they have to do a study and all of this stuff, and then but with us, it's like they know they're doing it already beforehand. They know they're about to do it.
They
and
already got
the
it set
thing,
up.
exactly. But that's the thing. That's why we need more. We need more black academics. Male especially. Male especially. We have a lot of we have black female academics in a larger numbers than we do black males, and that's a good thing. That's one thing that these ordinances and these protections and these things, you know, that came about from civil rights, you know, they helped with. But at the same time, they snuck the white women in there too. But with especially with, you know, with what do you call it, the affirmative action, where a minority class was considered a white woman.
Wow.
And yeah, so they
So
got
they
a lot
still
of,
benefit.
so exactly. But so then that's why we need more black academics, and specifically a few more black male academics, so that when we start when our people start doing agricultural studies and things that affect us, we'll have a whole study and a case and a grounding for what's happening up to us, because their academics aren't going to prioritize us like that in our areas, in our areas of distress. They're not going to prioritize us like that. They're just not going to do it out of racism, or out of just simply, I'm going to look after mine first. So we need
It's
those
always
sort of
said that.
things in place. We need those that sort of institutional protection from our own people who are in those systems and in those institutions, to put forward these motions too. And then when they start, then there could be a paper trail, at least if they decide to ignore these things, there can at least be a paper trail of them ignoring them.
They can manipulate that too. Everything they can manipulate these
That's
days.
true.
You know what scares me now? That AI is getting so big and so intense and so realistic. And remember, what we have of that has gotten so good that imagine what they have, that they can put you at the scene of a crime, falsify your text messages and phone calls, and convince the world through the news that you're on the run. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you'll start getting
Exactly.
phone calls like, yo, man, what's going on, man? I see you on the news. You're like, what you talking about, man? I'm sitting here in my backyard chilling. I think, man, they got you killing somebody and robbing a bank. What? Check it out.
Yep.
And you go there and see yourself doing that, and all of a sudden you hear cops coming to your door. Then you actually
Oh
turn into a
Lord, what am
fugitive
I
and
gonna
run.
do?
Exactly.
What am I gonna do? I don't kill somebody. God dang. Have you believe in it?
Well, maybe I did. Maybe there was something in that cough medicine I took.
I thought I took a nap. Was Diddy over here?
Right. Was Diddy diddling?
Was Diddley?
Oh, God.
Was Diddley? Yeah.
You know that there was this young lady on TikTok, and I saw it on this one channel I ran across that referred to the other young lady who, I think it was 2 years ago, predicted his downfall with all of this stuff, which we don't even know if this is staged or whatever, but this person was so accurate in their speaking of what was going down. It was frightening. When I listened to it, I was like, man, is this staged or something from before, whatever? But this is the thing she said before, and this is the thing she said after. I don't wish anything on anybody, right? But she said that Diddy is going to either take his own life, or they'll make it seem like he took his own life. And she's already been dead on for so much of this long before it happened. And I mean, You know, let's see what happens. It's
They had to
crazy.
be watching. They had to be watching Pup Diddy his whole life, because here's the thing:
Hmm.
his father was a major gangster. His
Oh
father
wow.
was his father was like his father was right up under like the head guy in New York. They were living
Oh,
good before that. So they've been watching that family forever. So
right,
I wonder
right,
if he's got a sugar daddy or two in the whole thing too, from the whole thing. But he went to private school. He went to a private boys Catholic school. Could explain some of
wow.
this stuff, man. And he, and then all of a sudden, like, who, like, his story, a lot of hard work and all that stuff goes into it, but you wonder how much of it is connections from his father's past life, and
Right. The
and
sins of the
music,
father.
and exactly. But then on top of that, though, like, for him to be in with Clive Davis, that man who owns so
Oh,
much, and who influences so much in culture through music, through through all of these businesses,
and so
then,
many
but how
suspect
could they not
undercover
know?
things.
How
Right.
could they not, exactly? How could they not know what he was doing the whole time when they've been watching his
Exactly.
family since his father? Then he gets with
That's a great
a
point.
known gangster and Biggie Small. Like, come on, like, how could they not have been watching him? They were just waiting for the perfect time to either pull a distraction move, if there's nothing that they're going to get him on, to pull a distraction from all this other stuff that's going on. Then every time something happens with with the older white guy being a diddler, then all of a sudden you're throwing out Michael Jackson or Puff Daddy or R. Kelly or somebody to distract
Mm-hmm.
from it.
Mm-hmm.
Nickelodeon, they start to talk about all that crazy stuff they were doing to the kids, and then all of a sudden, here comes Diddy and the city girl taking planes and with his stuff on it and things like that,
Yeah, this
as
is.
a mule for him allegedly.
Mm-hmm. There's so many of these celebrities are connected to some shady stuff.
Yeah,
Really and
because
truly. It's not even just the whole thing about the YouTube videos that kind of, but there's so much consistency. And you
yeah,
heard about Jaguar, right? You had to hear about Jaguar,
oh
right?
yeah,
Spilling the beans and all this stuff. It's like, okay, how is she saying all this stuff and they don't come for her? Or maybe they have it
because they
planned to
can't.
come
She's
for her.
saying so much. She's saying, I think this if she's, I think she's that smart to where where she figures, if I don't say something, then because of what they know I know, they'll just make me
That's true.
disappear, and I never put anything out there.
Right. She'll
But if she
die in
puts stuff out
anonymity.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
But then what they'll end up doing is like the old Wendy Williams things. Like like my thing is, I made a joke with this my cousin the other day. I said, I noticed that Wendy Williams went way down after Puff Daddy visited her on that show. She started having all sorts of symptoms and this, just like with Kim Porter. It's like you could put things in, they put things in people, like allegedly put things in people's drinks and this and that, to where it looks like they have the symptoms of all of that kills them eventually. It looks like
Right.
something else killed them, like pneumonia. Well, these people
Wow.
have the
Yeah.
best
True.
doctors in the world. So
True. True. Unbelievable.
it's like, you wonder how much people who know too much, but they're not on them like Jaguar's on them. Like, they know a little bit, like Wendy does, and she talked about it a little bit, enough to annoy
Hmm.
them, but not enough to stay on them to where they can't touch her. Because they saying like, dang, she's talking so damn much about us. We can't say anything. We can't do anything to her because the timing will just be bad. But as soon as she got into
Right.
the studios and the TV shows and all the other celebrities, oh, this one's wearing a gown, and get her now, get her now. She's talking about a gown. She's not even talking about us right now, so we can get her. It don't look like we're directly responsible.
Hmm.
So it's
Wow.
weird. Jaguar White, I think that a lot of it has to do with what she saw and what she experienced. And a lot of these artists don't want to talk about what they experienced because they feel, especially the men don't feel like they can really say, what are you going to do? You're going to tell the world another man violated you that bad?
Right. Right.
Like, why didn't you do anything to him? Like with men, it's almost like, why didn't you handle that? sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but she's like almost like the perfect person to do it because she's a lady and she was literally around all of this mess.
Yeah. And she admits her stuff. Like there was some guy that she admitted that,
Yeah,
you know, they were having sex furiously. Like, he told my back out or something she said. Like, she's so real with it. Like, she tells us stuff like she doesn't try to paint herself as a saint. She might not tell everything
yeah.
about
She didn't
herself,
say
but
I'm
she doesn't.
Cassie, and she implicates herself in her part of it. She says, "Okay,
Right,
I was game for this, but they also did that." Unlike the other ones who
right.
say, I wasn't game for any of this." Well, you were
Yeah,
there
right.
for decades,
Yeah,
so you kind of were a
exactly.
little bit like
You knew what was going
not the
on.
victim
Exactly.
blame at all,
Yeah,
not the
exactly.
victim blame at all, but at a certain point, it's like if you hanging around with people even on a street level, you know that they do. What they do is have parties, have drugs there, and have people on camera doing all sorts of things they don't know they're doing. Then you know what that is already. Why
That's
you keep
right.
going to the house? Yeah.
That's right.
It's like
Exactly.
it's either because the money too good and at the time you think it's good, and then you figure out, whoa, this money I should have got. I'm left in shambles. So now I'm
Exactly.
gonna go ahead and talk about some of this and some of that, get some more money. so so I can understand like somebody who maybe experienced that mess for a year or two and was like, I didn't know what it was. It happened so fast. We know how fast a year or two can go by.
Exactly.
And so a year or two can go by and you don't know what the hell you were doing, for some people.
Hell, 61 years can
But
go by fast, and
especially
you're like,
exactly. So,
I'm
but
like,
when 1 or 2 years go by and you're doing this crazy stuff, and it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. Yes. If you were a kid, never, no matter how many years, that's not your fault. But
right.
an adult and it's decades going by, and then now it's like, okay, you're using the law to get them, and whatever, that's part of the game for all of you. If all of you, there's no honor among thieves.
That's true.
So
That's true.
they
What's
decide if all of a sudden, like my drug house example, if you're in the drug house and every day for 10 years, and then all of a sudden you decide to snitch on everybody in the house, you know, you was there
I
before
know.
too, but at the
Exactly. What
same
was your
time,
role in this
yeah,
thing? Yeah.
yeah. How many people did you bring over there?
Exactly. Yep. With everybody having cell phones now and all type of technology and electronics and tiny little cameras they had this stuff for years. I was always into that, like, reading up
Yeah.
on stuff or whatever. But now they got things that you don't know who's recording you, audio, video, broadcasting it
Yeah.
somewhere. So you got to walk the straight and narrow. And if you walk the straight and narrow, once they have your face and your voice, they can just have you doing anything. And people are so
Oh
gullible,
yeah,
they'll have
like you
you,
said, the AI.
like, okay, people know I'm out here in West Africa. If you say, yeah, well, you were walking down Fifth Avenue squeezing women's booties, and we're going to look for you. Look, I had never left Africa. I've been out here. So you got to find a plane ticket, see me on a plane, but they can manufacture that too. You know what I mean? All right. Like today, I
he
ain't leaving the
he flew
house.
in at 5 o'clock and he flew in at 5 o'clock p.m. and was grabbing ass till midnight. Yeah.
You see him on camera
They're
here?
they're gonna have a exactly. They're gonna have a tearful witness and everything.
Yeah, for real. You see, he came around and did it again. He squeezed it so hard, he
They
left
got a
marks.
whole yep. They'll 3D print out a mask of you. Somebody put the mask on.
Or they'll lift some fingerprints off of some woman's ass, right? we printed, we got fingerprints. It's him. Oh God.
Why do I
Yep.
have 10 fingers on one hand?
Exactly. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It is. It really is, though. The technology
The
is out of
world we're living
control.
in.
It's like, yeah, the
What is it going to be
technology is out
5
of
years from now?
control.
Or 6 years from now? Agenda
Insanity.
2030. They're going to
Yeah.
amplify stuff up. we're not under control as much as they want. They're going to have to come with something drastic to scare us again. What will that be?
I believe that.
But whatever it is, it's going to be something totally unexpected. Don't look up at the tall building and say, oh, there's going to be a plane that flies into it. I just think it's going to have something to do with the grid going down and people getting desperate and turning in on each other. That's what I feel. And there will be different types of attacks possibly, but I think if the supermarkets don't get food, the electricity is off, you can't get cash, your ATM, your cards don't work, and you're hungry, that's enough for us to go against each other. That's what I think.
Oh yes, and they already did a little test run with seeing how well they can corral us with COVID and things like that. Let's see how much they will listen to us if we told them not to go outside.
Put fear
They will
in
never
their
let a
eyes,
good crisis. They'll never let a good crisis go to waste.
Like I always say on the shows, that mother who has a child that wants to stay out past the light, coming on, and she tells them that, listen, you can stay out as long as you want, but there's that red eye monster that grabs up little kids and eats them, and they never find them again. But you can stay outside. Oh, mommy, I don't want to stay outside past when the light comes. You know what I mean? Use reverse psychology.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the way. Man, that's crazy. But let me get, I'm realizing it's it's not later anything. I'm just 4 hours ahead of you, but it's 4:32, and in an hour and a half it's gonna be dark. I'm like, I got an hour and a half because I've been up from early. But this was a good chop up. We got to do this more often. You see how easy it is. I have this up by tonight, and pick up some more topics, man. There's a lot of crap to talk about, man, that people aren't even talking about. Different points of views and mindsets and perspectives and stuff. And you bring the intelligence with the humor. So you're not just. Say it again.
That's why I've been looking at your page more often, because I'm like what they did to that stuff, like I wasn't seeing you as much as I was actively seeking what you were saying. I know my brother got some stuff about this stuff. This is a master storyteller over here. I know he's got to talk about some of this stuff.
I just been around a little bit and got a little time under my belt. Yeah, but you're right up there too, man. I knew you were different. I knew you were special, man, from the job, man. Just a few seconds that I would pass through, you interject some humor. And I'm like, for the whole next 2 days, I'm cracking up. I'm like, this dude is blessed. He has a mind on him so sharp and intellectual. And you're the Muhammad Ali of comedy, man. You could dance around somebody, pop, pop, make them laugh, then come around and F them up, pow, you know what I mean? And laugh doing it.
There's just so much crazy stuff and so much. I'm like, people aren't like I'm always blessed to have
you're kind of breaking up.
Some minded person like yourself.
You're kind of breaking up.
Oh, let me see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It might be mine. Okay. But I was saying that's exactly how I felt when you find one of those like-minded people. Like yourself, I see with you, where I'm seeing so funny, so humorous, and got a great way of relaying the message and relaying the story, and that's a blessing, because you think that you would think that you're crazy in this world if somebody else don't see it. You're like, wait a minute, y'all don't see it real.
No, and people do look at you crazy because a lot of things are going over their head. Yeah. And then you have the people who are haters because they're mad that you have this ability. Because there are times like you've said a funny quip, like not even a formal joke, just reacting in conversation. And say if you said like 8 things in that exchange, and 3 of them had me cracking up. Well, guess what? Hours later, the other 5 started hitting me. I'm like, this is brilliant because this is time released. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like the X-Lax that doesn't work right away, but like when I put the right outfit on, 5 hours from now, I go out and I'm like, oh God, it hits you. It hits you after, man. It's funny. You got that time release comedy because you'll be thinking like, oh damn, that's what he meant. And the funny part is that you put it together at the moment.
Because you
Say it
know
again.
why it comes off in the moment? Because you know why it seems to come off in the moment is because before we ever talk about it, before I ever talk about anything with any other person, I'm
Right.
usually thinking about it and all the different
Yeah.
angles of it for like a good, like literally I had a thought about something. I can't, I remember consciously saying to myself, like I started talking to somebody about it a little bit online, but I stopped myself. I said, I haven't developed this thought enough yet to really go at this person about this thought yet. You know what I mean? And so many
Right.
times
But
online,
that
people
that
just go
alone
online with
that that alone
half-formed
is more than
ideas.
what most people do. That alone
Yeah,
is more than what most people do in pondering something. And
yes,
even wherever you are, just for you to say that, that's depth. Most people don't even
yeah,
do, they just react right away without even knowing everything. But you look at everything 360 degrees, and the longer you do, the more, see, you relax with it where you can still come off at the moment because you're so used to
yeah,
it. This is like I say with people. You get a new house, you get a new apartment. When you first get there, you know where the light switch is, but you still feel around your hand on the wall,
yep,
right? Until come back in 6 months, you take one finger, bing, in the dark and find it. So the more
yep,
you're
and it'll hit
around
the
it, you
spot
get used
perfectly.
to it and you're comfortable. But before you're rubbing your hand all over the wall. I know it's over here somewhere.
That's true. That's very true. That's a great
Mhm.
analogy. And it's like you're in that space and in that with the space of the conversation or like in the analogy, the space of the house. And then you know where okay, this part of the house there's a little bit of a dead spot in terms of like where my foot might land crazy over here, you know, like there's a little bit of an unevenness over the rug over here, you
Right.
know, those sort of things like you mentioned. Yeah.
That's
It's
right.
like I like to sit with these thoughts, and I like to sit, and I like to really go and attack what even my own thoughts. I'll attack my own point of view from several
Just like
angles
you're
because I keep
polished.
myself you keep yourself honest. Yeah. So when you
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
having
You
a
don't,
conversation with somebody,
right.
it's not that it's not so much that you're preparing yourself to argue with someone, but you're just
No, but
preparing yourself to think about it from different angles.
exactly. That way you can digest it better realistically. But remember, so many
Yeah.
people out here, they'll listen to talking points and not even think about it realistically and just spout it back in an argument that they're not prepared to defend. And it's not about an argument, but people don't go deeper. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
just take it what they hear and run with it. And you now will go deeper and you may find something off in what you received as far as information and omit that
Yeah.
because you know that's not authentic. But that's being responsible. But most people are not responsible. They have an emotional
That's
attachment to a
true.
certain ideology. And when they hear something that agrees with that ideology, they run with it, even though they won't even consider the other side. So this is why when I speak to people on the show, it may be some things I disagree with, but I have to still let them talk and I still have to allow it to permeate a part of me like a reception center. That is, I'm not going to let it just go all through me because I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but that part of me that will strain through it. Like when you put on gloves and go through people's property when you're working in the jail, you don't know what's inside germs on there, but you're still going to go through it. So most people don't do
Yeah.
that. They're zombified right now. They just take what they hear, talking points, and run with it. And this is why when you have these little propaganda YouTube channels that have great graphics in the beginning to look like the news and make it look like it's something official and somebody's official voice comes on and people, oh my God, this is, you know what I heard? You know, they were monsters walking around downtown Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Look, I got friends of mine who are grown who should have some sense and they do the same thing. I had a friend of mine I grew up with, man, and because I think it was somewhere down Fort Myers or somewhere down in South Florida, there were 2 or 3 alligators that came out of one of the lakes and were running around. Do you know this joker called me 3 o'clock in the morning? Oh my God, the alligators are running throughout Florida. Now you see how he twisted around?
Oh, yeah.
All over Florida, there were hundreds of alligators in the street. What are you gonna do? They're out there. I said, man,
You're like,
you know, he got too much time on his hands. You know,
you're
and I'm
like,
like, come on.
you got too much time.
So, my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth.